Okay, third time lucky from Skyhawk by Jill Lewis, chapter 21. The first time I got interrupted by a lawnmower. The second time I fell out of my hammock, and the third time I read all the way from 21 to 24 and realised I'd forgotten to press record. I know there'll be many of you that will not be surprised by that. Chapter 21. Osprey, said Ewan, flopping down in the boat. He watched the osprey carry the trout back to the eyrie, where the young osprey pulled it from him. You've got osprey nesting on your farm. Why didn't you tell us? I stared at the ripples of the boat's wake. They're rare, I mumbled. Protected. And you thought we'd go and blab to everyone, said Ewan. He looked hurt now, angry. You didn't think you could trust us? I grabbed the oars and pulled hard on them. It wasn't like that, I said. Did she know? Asked Rob. I nodded. Iona found them. She saved them. Well, Iris, that is. Iris, said Rob with a laugh. Yes, Iris, I snapped. Why'd you have to make a stupid joke out of everything? I rowed the boat across the loch, the oars slapping in the water. The boat crunched on the gritty shore, and I jumped out and looped the rope over a tree stump. I promised Iona I'd look after Iris, and I will. I'll still do it. I stormed off along the path. Rob and Ewan had to run to catch up with me. Rob grabbed me by the arm. I'm sorry, all right? I turned on him angrily. You said I was a complete loser, remember? I was mad at you. You couldn't be bothered with any of us anymore. It was the ospreys, I said. My voice trailed off, and I sank onto a damp, mossy stone. Ewan leaned against a tree. So where's she now? Where's Iris? Gone, I said. She's headed south for the winter. So that's it then, said Ewan. You'll have to wait till next year. I sat there picking the bits of moss and rolling them between my fingers. No, I said. Neither Rob nor Ewan said a word. They didn't quite understand. I flicked the moss to the ground. I can follow her. She's got a radio transmitter on her back. I'll see her journey all the way to Africa and back. You're kidding me, said Rob, who was wide-eyed. No, I said. Iona and me, we helped fit the transmitter. Now that is cool, whistled Rob. How do you track her? On my computer, I said. Can you show us? Asked Rob. I shrugged my shoulders. Ewan gave me a hard stare. For goodness sake, Callum, you're mates. You can trust us. I looked across at them. Dad was right. They were my friends, and right now I needed them. Of course I trust you, I said. Come on then, said Rob, picking up my rucksack. I can't wait to see this. Back in my bedroom, Ewan and Rob leaned over my shoulder as I switched on the computer. Iris is in southern France, I said. She'll have to fly over the Pyrenees soon. The what? Said Rob. Pyrenees, said Ewan. The mountains between France and Spain. I showed them how to tap in Iris's code so we could find her position and plot it on the maps of Google Earth. Look, I said. That's where she was an hour ago. 25th of August, 19.00 GMT. Lourdes, south of France. 43, 5, 8.94 north. 0, 05, 43.43 west. Speed 26 kilometers per hour. Altitude 1.18 kilometers. Direction south. Total distance 1,771.86 kilometers. Rob took over the computer. Amazing, he said. You can see everything she flies over, and look at this. He clicked on tiny photo icons scattered over the maps. There are even photos of the places. Just look at these mountains, they're massive. I pulled out my diary and wrote the coordinates inside. What's that? Asked Ewan. A diary, I said. I plot a journey in it too. Can I look? Asked Ewan. I passed it over, and he slowly flipped through all the pages. I'd stuck in some of Iona's paintings and sketches. These are good drawings, said Ewan. I nodded. Iona had done them. Can I draw something? He said. I passed Ewan a pencil and let him sketch a picture at the bottom of the page. He held up the finished drawing and showed me. It wasn't as good as Iona's, but I liked it all the same. It was 3 boys in a boat on the loch, and an osprey catching a huge brown trout from the water. 22. 27th of August, 07.48 GMT. Pyrenees, Spain. 42, 45, 28.29 north, 0, 21, 41.68 west. Speed 68.8 kilometers per hour. Altitude 3.21 kilometers. Direction south. Total distance 1,865.23 kilometers. Iris has left France, I said at breakfast. She's over the Pyrenees right now. I've just had a reading. Very nice, said Dad, pouring himself a cup of tea. I hope she's stocked up on croissants for the journey. Dad, that's not even funny. Mum pushed a bowl of porridge under my nose. She's flying really high, I said, at over 3,000 metres. She's going some too. She's flying at nearly 70 kilometres an hour. That's some tailwind behind her. Aye, and you'll need more than a tailwind to get you to school on time, said Mum, tapping the bowl with her finger. First day back. You can't be late. Dad'll have to give you a lift. Rob, Ewan and I were all in the top class now. One more year and we'd leave the village school for the secondary school 20 miles away by bus. Dad drove me to school and dropped me at the school gates. The bell was ringing, so I hurriedly went inside to our new classroom. Rob flung his bag on the desk next to me. A whole year of Mrs. Wicklow, he groaned. She taught my dad when he was here, said Ewan, flopping in a chair. She's ancient, said Rob. Ewan nodded. My dad swears she's got mountain troll blood in her. I gave Ewan a nudge as Mrs. Wicklow strode through the door. Good morning, class, she bellowed. The class fell silent as she turned to glare at the three of us before turning to write on the board. You'll be pleased to know we're starting the term with a project on castles and fortified towns, she said. We'll be looking at why they were built and what life was like when people lived there. Work in groups. Find out as much as you can and present a project to the class. Rob, Ewan and I sat down at a spare computer and searched under castles. How about Edinburgh Castle? That's a good one, said Ewan. Nearly everyone did that last year, said Mrs. Wicklow. I want something different. Ewan muttered under his breath as Mrs. Wicklow left the room. Rob was spinning in his chair next to us. I searched through all the kids' web pages, but nothing really grabbed me. All I could think about was where Iris was right now. What could she see? Had she made it over the Pyrenees? Come on, Rob, I said. Don't expect us to do all the work. Rob whizzed over and bashed his chair into mine. Okay, budge up, he said. He tapped in Iris's code. Not here, Rob, I hissed. We don't want anyone to see. Come on, said Rob. Trollface isn't here. The computer took ages initialising into Google Earth. The clock timer spun over and over. Chair race, announced Rob. You up for it? It was our thing. We'd race each other by spinning the swivel chairs round and round from the bottom seat position to the top, and then back down again. 3, 2, 1, go, said Rob. And we were off, spinning like crazy. I kept my arms and legs tucked in, round and round and round we spun. Rob and Ewan were whirling blurs beside me. My seat hit the bottom position with a clunk. I won, I yelled. Ewan came seconds in behind me, but he was looking beyond me, and his face had turned pale grey. Callum McGregor! I turned, and my blood froze. Mrs. Wicklow was standing behind me, hands on hips. She turned to the class. Well, it seems Mr. McGregor and his friends have time enough to play games. Everyone was staring at us. The class was silent. Let's see what these three have found for their research, shall we? Said Mrs. Wicklow, taking a step towards the computer. Rob reached over and hammered a few keys on the keyboard. I wanted to pull the socket from the wall. In a few moments, Iris's secret would be there for all to see. Come on now, snapped Mrs. Wicklow. Rob had time to press one more key. Mrs. Wicklow sat down and stared at the screen. She raised her eyebrows and looked at me. I didn't know you had an interest in northern Spain, the Pyrenees to be precise. I looked at Ewan, but there was nothing to be done. Mrs. Wicklow turned the screen to the class. Well done to Callum, Rob and Ewan, she said. I looked at the screen. It didn't show Iris, or the route she'd taken over the mountains. Instead, there was an article on the most amazing castle I'd ever seen. It had turrets and high walls and was perched on the very edge of a high mountain, like the edge of the world itself. Castillo de Lure, said Rob, in a forced Spanish accent, high in the Pyrenees. Mrs. Wickley raised her eyebrows. "Good work, boys," she said. "Keep it up." When she had moved across the class, I turned to Rob. "How did you find that one?" Rob laughed. "Sheer luck," he said. "I clicked on the nearest photo to Iris's position, just to take the attention away from her. I couldn't believe it when it showed this castle. I clicked on the link, and here it is." I looked closer at the screen. "Amazing, isn't it?" I said. "To think she has flown over this very castle less than an hour ago. Maybe it's one of her landmarks." "Forget that," said Rob, running his hand through his hair. "That bird just saved our skin." 27th of August, 11:15 GMT. Lure, northern Spain. 42:18:49.42 north. 0:37:29.39 west. Speed 28.6 kilometers per hour. Altitude 1.42 kilometers. Direction south. Total distance 1,908.34 kilometers. Chapter 23. We followed Iris's journey every day. It took her 3 days to reach the south of Spain. She stayed near a reservoir there for nearly a week before heading off across the Straits of Gibraltar. I rang Hamish to say she had left for Africa. Hamish told me he'd been to Gibraltar before and seen loads of different migrating birds waiting for the right conditions to cross the stretch of water. He said it was like an airport lounge for different birds, squabbling for space until the right wind direction or clear skies carried them over the sea. But it was the desert that worried me. On the map, the huge expanse of the Sahara Desert stretched across northern Africa. Pictures showed endless seas of sand dunes. I read about rocks so hot you could fry an egg, and sandstorms so fierce they could tear your skin off. It was hard to believe that Iris would fly over this furnace of land with no water to drink or fish from. And then my worst fear happened. There was no signal from Iris. I rang Hamish. "Maybe she's sheltering in the rocks," he said. "If the solar battery loses power in the dark, it won't transmit the signal." "But it's the middle of the day," I said. "She should be flying. There's enough sun out there. It's the Sahara." "I know," said Hamish with a sigh. "We'll just have to wait. It's all we can do." I couldn't sleep much that night. I woke early and tapped in Iris's code on the computer. 11th of September. No signal. "I've lost her, Dad. I've lost her," I said. "There was no signal yesterday. She went too far east into the Sahara." Dad flicked the edge of my bedroom curtain. It was still dark outside, and sleet skittered against the windows. "I need help with a sheep cow. We've got to bring them down from the hills. She is 178 kilometres from water. There's a couple of lame ewes I want to look at. It's not yet dawn in the Sahara. Maybe when the sun hits the solar panel on the transmitter, we'll find her again." Dad looked at me. I didn't think he'd been listening to a word I said, but he had. "Cal," he said, "I want Iris to be safe, I do. But it's not going to make any difference if you sit all day with your face pressed to that computer screen. She's a wild bird, in a harsh environment. You know that. There's nothing you can do to help her out there. She is on her own." "But she's a fighter, Dad, isn't she?" I looked at the screen, at the exact point of her last signal. Every day of her journey I'd zoomed in on Google Earth to her location. I'd panned over the landscape she was flying over. It was as if I was with her. It was as if I was flying right beside her all the way. "Come on, Cal," Dad said. "Have your breakfast and help me with the sheep. Maybe we can go up to the osprey nest later and fix it for storm damage. There's going to be high winds tonight. Let's make sure the nest is there for her next spring. It's all we can do." I turned to switch the computer off. But before I could press the keys, a small orange dot flashed on the screen. A small orange dot that could only mean one thing. "She's back, Dad!" I yelled. "There's a signal! There, in the desert! It's her signal!" Dad peered at the screen and ran his hands through my hair. Aye, he smiled. Maybe she's dipping her toes in a green oasis right now, a long cool drink by her side. Dad! I gave him a shove, but I couldn't take the grin off my face. 11th of September, 5:30 GMT. Sahara Desert. 31:30:08.84 north, 0:41:37.21 east. Speed 0 kilometers per hour. Total distance 3,812.02 kilometers. Iris opened her eyes and ruffled her feathers. The pale orange dawn was spreading across the horizon. There were no landmarks to be seen, no green-lined oasis or bright strip of river. There were only the pale golden dunes rolling endlessly into the distance. The sandstorm had raged all day and all night. It had blown Iris far into the desert, where she found shelter beneath an outcrop of rock. Gritty sand had worked its way into her mouth and nostrils and rubbed on the soft skin beneath the downy feathers. One foot was swollen and ached where the old cut lay open, and her long flight feathers were dry and brittle from the heat. She started preening them, oiling them so the barbs on each were smooth and sealed again. As the sun flared into the sky, Iris launched herself up into the rising spirals of air. All day she drifted southwards and westwards. The desert sun burned into her back, and the midday sand glared bright in her eyes. As the sun curved down towards the horizon, Iris sank down with it through the cooling layers of air. Below, a trail of camels and people trudging over the high dune ridges, their long dark shadows pressed against the golden sand. A child riding high on one of the camels pointed to her as she passed. Deep within Iris, the memories of the distant cold lands flowed through her, memories of a child watching, of rich fishing grounds and deep waters. They lifted her and carried her higher, and in the fading light a green smudge of trees and scrubland appeared, and beyond that, at last, a strip of sunset reflected in the curves of a wide flowing river. That takes us to chapter 24. Tune in next time for the next few chapters.